Alright, I got the floor down, subfloors down. Now you see this ceiling? Yeah, this crazy ductwork is. I'm gonna pull this down and see what is above it. It's probably gonna be a mess.
We decided, well, we have to clean out our air ducts now because heresy first. I think that heresy is different than heretic. Now, I understand that, and every time I have tried to define these, people have said I'm not correct. I take heresy at the dictionary version of heresy, which is anything that is contrary to the scriptures. So, if it is heresy, then it is contrary to biblical truth. Now, people you don't hear Christians come out and say, yes, I believe mostly truth, biblical truth, but I do believe heresy in these issues. Everybody believes that their biblical truth, that their version of truth is biblical truth if you are talking to believers. And that needs to be considered when we go into the idea of whether or not dispensationalism is heresy. The other version, heretic, I probably take my own definition of this probably a little bit. I believe that a heretic is someone who actively preaches against the gospel in one way, shape, or form.
Yeah, trying to get followers to believe their idea, to follow their.
Or even if they are preaching a. So I believe that there are some teachers who are not necessarily just trying to get followers, but honestly believe a theology, but it is blatantly contrary to the gospel. And we could use actually our, what was his name? Representative Emmanuel Cleaver. I don't think that Cleaver is sitting there saying, yes, I actively oppose God and the gospel, but I do think that his ability and want to be able to pray in the name of many different gods proves that he is actively against the gospel and therefore is actively a heretic. It's not just heresy that he believes, he is a heretic right now. And so I think that it's different if somebody says, oh, well, Caleb believes in heresy. Okay, that means that I believe a doctrine that they think is not biblical. However, if they say I am a heretic, it means that I'm actively preaching against the gospel. That's how I personally define these things. That's my personal definition. Do you want to expand on that before we move on?
No. No.
All right. Moving on then, let's go to dispensationalism. Stephen's question on dispensationalism then, is dispensationalism heresy? I think that dispensationalism, as I have defined heresy, is heresy. In that now that's not to say that people who believe in dispensationalism are heretics. And we'll talk about this a little bit. And for the exact reasons that Stephen has laid out. According to the Bible, I think that God has only ever had one people. I don't believe that God has had two people. And that is that he had Israel, and then he also has the church in a different dispensation. I think that that is not what the Bible teaches, and therefore it would be heresy to believe that. At the same time, I don't believe that there has been two plans of salvation, one for Israel and one for the church. Let's take it one step farther or further. I do not believe in two forms of sanctification, in that God has two laws for different people. So the standard Christian view, I believe, is a heresy that God has done away with and people would say maybe the ceremony and civil aspects of the law. I think that that is a heretical view. Does that mean that the people who believe it are heretics? No, I don't necessarily believe that, because I think that one of the reasons that I have understood dispensationalism to have come into existence in and of itself in the first place is because those who believe in dispensationalism wanted to try to make the scriptures line up on how God would have Israel as the chosen people, even though Israel rejected Christ.
Right. Dispensationalism is an effort to create a timeline that helps reconcile the tension that is necessarily
Okay. Get all that crap down. I'll probably reuse that box. Just put a regular light on it. Let me see if I can get some. Well, there goes that. Getting close, guys. Hang on. Yes. Anyway, I took a few boards down so I can have access through. I don't know why they didn't do that. This is all going to be insulated anyway. Clean all these cobwebs up. Replace that duct, pull these wires, get rid of those. Run a new line. From there. I don't know if I'll cross it over into there and then come out in the other room. Spooky. But for tonight, that's it. A couple hours each evening. Looks we got the subfloor down and the ceiling out so we can tell what's going on. Next step is to clean up all these studs, pull the nails. I'll probably get rid of this. I just used pieces of the old siding. tie those joists together, the rafters. Replace those with some 2x4s. Go ahead and pull all the wire for this room. Put a new switch. And probably do a plug. Put at least one over here. Put one on each wall at least. But anyway, for now, guys, that's it. We'll try it again tomorrow.